Bloodwave Necro is completely broken. This is a tier 100 boss. I don't even have amazing gear. Hundreds of billions of damage. Which items do you need to make it work? Because there are 4 things that you can't live without. The first one you can't live without is Casamig's Legacy. And the 2 most important things here are the 300% bonus damage to Bloodwave and chance for Bloodwave to deal double damage as high as possible. Casamig's Legacy will make Bloodwave be this butt cheek clapping, lip smacking, however you want to call it. Holds the enemy together, throws them around, 300% damage multiplier and double damage, and has the blood orb spawn close to you. That's very important for the build, because your second thing you absolutely need is the fast blood aspect. Blood orbs reduce your ultimate cooldown by 2.5 seconds, for example. 2 seconds or 1.5 is enough as well, because Casamig's Legacy already reduces your blood wave cooldown, and with all the blood orbs spawning around you, you get absolutely 0 issues with getting the cooldown low after every single blood wave concluded, because you can't spam blood wave anymore, at least not into each other, because of the third thing, and that would be the altered blood wave aspect. Blood Waves fires 2 additional waves, so the triple waving, each dealing 460% of normal damage. But you can no longer recast it until the last wave ends. Which means I do my blood wave, and then while the blood wave is happening, I run around to collect the blood orbs, that as soon as the blood wave is over, I can cast the next one. But I have to wait for it to be over first. And that's why Casamig's Legacy is so important. Without Casamig's, I would now throw out the blood wave forward, and I would have to wait for it to be over. And now I can cast the new one. That's crazy, look at this. I have to wait all this time. That's why without Casamig's it just doesn't feel good. Because due to it being a localized calamity now, you can straight away cast it again. Now this is already where tons of your damage is coming from. We have 300% multiplier and a 460% multiplier on our weapon. Yes, you do need a 2-handed weapon. But what's the 4th thing now? And that is another aspect, and it would be the Apogeic Fur. Casting an ultimate skill increases your ultimate damage by 9% up to 90%. At 10 stacks, your cooldown and this bonus are reset. Now you can imagine, we're moving in, we're casting our blood wave, we're going onwards, we're casting our blood wave, and it just stacks up the damage, and it's more and more and more. And especially in a boss fight later on, any kind of longer lasting pack, pit 115, pit 120, 130, it is just going to make your billion harder, and billion more, and then billion even more. It does work without. It just simply feels significantly weaker. Now I said 4 things, but I actually meant 5, because with 4 it works, but 5 makes it really go crazy. And that is the ultimate shadows aspect, because now your blood wave is also a darkness skills and deals shadow damage and gains additional effects. The additional effects don't matter. The shadow damage over time, we don't care about. We want it to also be a darkness skill. Since if Bloodwave is a darkness skill, then the terror bonus of 18% multiplicative bonus damage and the 6 times 4% bonus damage also applies to the Bloodwave. You could technically play it with just Casamig's Legacy and the cooldown reduction aspect. These 2 are absolutely mandatory, but the others truly make it feel good. You'll just feel neutered and not amazing if you don't have all of this together. Even if it's low rolls on each of the aspects, that would be my recommendation before you even think about playing the Bloodwave build. Play minions until then, for example, because minions don't need anything and simply carried me to tier 4, and then I started destroying Lord Zur. Since Lord Zur is the boss you want to kill for Casamig's Legacy. He's the one for Exquisite Blood, and just to demonstrate you what the build does, this is a Torment 4 boss, and we're just gonna cast our Bloodwave now. And that's about it. Now we get Pans. Let's see if there's another Casamig's there. This one would be a terrible one. Yes, it has 247 out of 300%, but it only has 23.5% chance for Bloodwave to deal double damage. And right now, with my Bloodwave deal double damage on the weapon, 56 out of 70%, and the 36.2 on my pants. If I had a higher roll on the weapon, I would already be sitting at a 100% chance to deal double damage. Crazy, ain't it? You don't even need a greater affix on it. You don't even need to hit the masterwork. Hitting that 100% is quite simple if you get the good high rolls. Let me walk you through the skills, Paragon board, and give you a gameplay loop during a tier 100 dungeon. First, the skills, 2 points into Reap and then straight up into Hoot Flash for the corpse creation. And also we have the Blight together with the bonus 20% damage. We don't really use this for mob packs. This is for bossing to throw it in and just get another multiplier. Technically, you can use this in higher pits for mob packs, but it's not really needed. Then we get our Blood Mist together with the Enhanced Blood Mist into the bonus critical strike chance. You can Blood Mist before you hit a mob pack to then have more critical strike chance and damage. We're getting the Barrier with Lucky Hit, more damage versus elites while fortified. And also spiked armor, as I really don't have enough armor yet. We're sitting at 1,400 together with the Juggernaut's aspect, but I want to get rid of that. I don't want to play the Juggernaut. Then 1 point into Corpse Explosion with 3 ranks into Fueled by Death. We're playing the Death Embrace. Enemies are always close to us. We're always close to enemies. Damage reduction and more damage is wanted. More damage with the Curse and then also the cooldown reduction. Don't really need the cooldown reduction, but it does help to really make sure to always have the Blood Wave. Then it's Coalesces Blood with Tides of Blood, and I have an amulet with ranks into Coalesces Blood, but you would rather want Tides of Blood as that is double damage, because you do more overpower damage, and the bonus is doubled if you're healthy, so if you get more ranks in it, you get always 30% plus and not 15. We got our Corpse Tendrils together with the Blighted Corpse Tendrils. We don't need this to make vulnerable. We can choose another source of vulnerable. Then there's Reaper's Pursuit for the bonus movement speed, into Gloom for the bonus damage stacking multiplier with Terror as well. I would put 1 point in Necrotic Carapace as well, as you're actually forming quite a lot of corpses, and it's just bonus Fortify together with your Blood Wave into damage reduction from the Blood Wave. That's nice. You're permanently casting it, you permanently have 20% damage reduction, and you make the blood orbs. We want the bonus damage as we're casting ultimates for 8 seconds. We always cast ultimates, more sacrifice bonuses, and also more damage reduction again, with some critical strike damage bonus. And lastly, our Rathmas Vigor, which always has our overpower because we're consistently picking up the blood orbs, and your overpower does 120% multiplicative more damage with a 400%, with a 300%. Whee! It's so good. Now let's throw an eye on the gear and then show you tier 100 dungeon into Paragon board. We get the helmet with a cursed aura aspect. Now you do not have to play the cursed aura aspect because we can use runes for that too. Currently I have the rune to give me 20% more life, and I have the runes to also give me more critical strike chance. If I had my critical strike chance higher over equipment, I would not need that rune for critical strike chance. As soon as I get this higher, I can swap it out for the Decrepify, and I don't have to play Cursed Aura anymore. Now the helmet needs to have maximum life greater affix, that would be amazing, intelligence, and you can take cooldown reduction. I had to take the poison resistance and the cold resistance temper to actually meet my resistance needs. Then we're tempering for corpse tendrils, as a bigger size just pulls everyone together from everywhere. The chest piece as well, greater affix life and intelligence. I get armor on it too, that I can get rid of the Juggernaut aspect. We currently have a lucky hit chance to stun, as that works nicely together with a wave. Could also be lucky hit to freeze. Both works quite fine. Then there's the Juggernaut aspect currently, and I would like to swap this out for Hardened Bones or the Exploiters aspect. Because the Exploiter says you have more crowd control duration, but while enemies are unstoppable, you deal 40% increased damage to them. And they're unstoppable when they have been crowd controlled too much. And since we're blood waving them the whole time and knocking them back and whoop, 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 at some point they're going to be crowd controlled too much. And then the Exploiters aspect grips and we do a lot of damage. Our gloves are running int max life crit. That's perfect. Then damage while fortified, because damage while fortified boosts our blood wave damage. The more damage while fortified and damage while healthy we have, the more multiplicative damage it gets. We get another 330% with the actual 300% and the 460% and the 120% from Rathmas Vigor in our passives. On top, we get the corpse tendril size to really pull everyone in a room together, and then the ultimate shadows for making Bloodwave also a darkness skill. Keseme's Legacy needs the 300%. If you get a greater affix, it's on the ultimate damage and probably the damage reduction. You do not need the cooldown or even the Bloodwave to deal double damage. As you can see here again, this could be 70% with a max roll. This is with 4 times Masterwork already 36.2. You're going to get the 100% without a greater affix on these things. My boots are playing maximum life, and I got movement speed because you just want to zoom around. I guess having armor on it would also be good, that I can then get rid of the Juggernaut. We get bonus movement speed and even more corpse tendrils, as I just wanted to meet the quota, wanted to get the 100%. Plus, lucky hit, you can daze enemies for even more damage multiplier. And I guess lucky hitting is really easy, as our Blood Wave has a 50% lucky hit chance. Ta-da! For the two-handed weapon, you want a sword or a mace for the overpower or critical strike damage. Both are working because you're multiplying both upwards. Then, damage while fortified can be up to 400%. Fantastic. And maximum life. Maximum life greater affix, mandatory. Then intelligence, and obviously either critical strike damage bonus or the overpowered damage bonus as well. You can see my weapon has the maximum life. Apart from that, it's useless, as we have summon damage and a lucky hit chance to heal right now. It is an B tier weapon at best. For the amulet, we want the Ranks and Tides of Blood. I get the Ranks and Qualis Blood. Sadly, that's the only thing. Maximum life, intelligence multiplier is amazing. More intelligence, more resistance, more skill damage, more witch power damage, more everything. So I want int, max, and then Ranks to Tides of Blood with the total armor and the ultimate skill cooldown reduction. Don't 100% need the ultimate skill cooldown reduction, but that 10% just does help that you need to pick up lesser blood orbs to really make sure to always have the cooldown ready at the time that the blood wave is over. Lastly, we're playing the corpse tendril aspect. You don't really need this while normal pushing through a dungeon, but it doesn't hurt to have. And against bosses, it's simply amazing. Getting another 60% crit multiplier is great. The critical hit chance is not really needed because you want to get 100% without it. But with it, I'm sitting at 100% right now, together with the runes. Now, you actually want your rings to give you that critical strike chance. But I only had an attack speed ring. Attack speed is not really useful for this build because you cannot influence the time the butt cheeks take to clap together. Now I got the attack speed, the maximum life, then damage while fortified, cooldown reduction, and blood orbs reduce cooldowns. Into the second ring that has intelligence and then max life again, but this time at least crit chance. With the ultimate cooldown reduction, damage while fortified, and then the apogeic and then the apogeic aspect for the bonus ultimate skill damage stacking. In our Book of the Dead, we're sacrificing for more critical strike chance. Could go for resistance if you really stink and don't have that tarried out yet. Then with the Skeletal Mages, we're sacrificing for the overpowered damage. And lastly for Golem, for the bonus crit damage multiplier. You could go for more maximum life here if you struggle to get your life up. I'm currently sitting at 14k. With a potion, we're going up to 16.422. And then with the 20% more life from the runes, we're sitting at 20,000 plus. Still not as good as I want to have it, as I am missing max life on the ring, max life on the ring. We could get max life here as well. There's max life missing. Could be at least at 25. Goal would be 30,000 at a minimum to hit. 30,000 would be kind of good. As our Merc weapon playing Subo, as Subo gives us a little bit more overpowered damage, which is kind of fun. What about the Witchcraft powers though now? Do not take the frog. I've had the frog from a minion playthrough still. The problem is he throws his tongue out and pulls something away from you. Yeah. He pulled something out of your butt cheeks clapping blood waves. That's annoying. But you really want to have a soul harvest. Whenever you use a cooldown, we always use a cooldown, you gain 1% primary core stat per surrounding enemy. This bonus lasts for 5.5 seconds. That's amazing. And at rank 9, it has infinite duration. So getting this to rank 9 is really useful, as 1% more core stat is useful per surrounding enemy. If I get 10% more, I just get tons more core stat and more damage. Then you'll play the Force of Will. When you kill an enemy, your next overpower deals increased damage up to 100%. The damage bonus extends to the next 2 overpowers instead of 1. While you're pushing through a dungeon, it doesn't hurt to just accelerate your damage to really land these super hits, especially as you have a big mob pack with one big elite in the middle. You kill the tiny ones and then smack, destroy them with a big overpower. Next up, we get the Hex of Flames. It says lucky hit up to a 22% chance to afflict Hex of Flames. When you damage an enemy afflicted with Hex of Flames, you deal bonus fire damage to them. If you critical strike an enemy afflicted with Hex of Flames, the fire damage explodes in an area instead. This works super well with what we're doing here. Then we got Shaken Soul. Your Eldritch effects apply vulnerable for 3.3 seconds. Your Psychic Growth and Decay damage also applies vulnerable for half the normal duration at rank 10, and this would be our easy source of vulnerable. The Hex of Flames is already an Eldritch effect, and to make sure to really always apply this then at rank 10, you can just put in the RF Siphoning. And it's double good because you're simply sucking life force out of enemies around you, but as soon as we jump into them, they're straight up vulnerable and take more damage. Done. On top, I added the Vengeful Spirit just to prevent some damage. It's not really that we need it. You could also play the Doom Orb or the Pionado later, I assume, but it's what I have, right? Vengeful Spirit. I technically want the aura specialization because it makes our auras bigger and we get more critical strike damage to enemies within the aura. That would be great for our Siphoning together with the Shaken Soul. And then we could probably kick out the Hex of Flames because we got the Shaken Soul at rank 10 together with the Aura of Siphoning. I've so far worked my way towards tier 15 already, and I could easily do this, but I wanted to show you a tier 100 because that's what you're probably going to do to just farm your glyphs up. The gameplay loop is pretty simple. You just waltz into minions, press the button, then straight away go for the pull together with tendrils, then press the button again. Everything dies and on we go. Everything gets vulnerable instantly by contact, as you can see here right now, so that is pretty amazing. And, well, I guess it would be helpful if you just pull more things together. But on the other hand, you're just such a localized calamity that it can be annoying to wait for minions to really walk together. So I'll tend to just walk into a pack of minions and then just destroy them as quick as possible, and then waltz straight up to the next pack of minions. Straight away, pull them together again, and then walk in a circle to get yourself all the blood orbs together. Because you need to, like, you know, do this slight little rotation to then get the blood orbs, and you're simply just destroying everything. You're making barrier the whole time because of the lucky hit barrier production, so you also don't have to worry about your enemies hitting you. That makes elemental resistance not be so important, as the barrier can help you to stay alive. I would still look out to actually max them. The biggest problem with the build is that you can't actually spam your main damage skill, right? I can use it one after the other, or the other, but it's not like a Bone Spirit where you walk in and I can cast like 5,000 Bone Spirits per second, and I just keep casting them and casting them and casting them, where every Bone Spirit has the potential for billions and billions of damage. You're limited to 3 waves, and each wave will do guaranteed insane damage that will scale the more waves we do and the more enemies we kill. But we can't like do more waves. That's why we're saying like attack speed doesn't do anything for this. It's like these waves that are doing exactly this damage. Now we're 2 minutes in, we've already pushed forward. I've been absolutely not having a single issue. You've seen my gear. It is not the best gear under the moon. It's nothing that's going to take you very long to get. My weapon is not even good for this. We're missing tons of damage out, and we can just do a tier 100 like it's an absolute goddamn joke. See, now I didn't pick up enough orbs, so I didn't have my blood wave straight away, and then we're waltzing on. Enemies are vulnerable, enemies are taking bonus damage as we pull them together, if we even have them live long enough to take that bonus damage, because that was the point about the corpse tendrils. You mostly don't actually need them. Later on, yes, as we then get into the pit higher, where hundreds of billions of damage is not that much, then the corpse tendrils become more and more useful. But in the beginning, you'll feel like, why am I even playing corpse tendrils again? So 3 minutes, almost at the boss. Tight corridors are your enemy because sometimes it's annoying with the blood orbs spawning. That's something to keep in mind. Like if you have a very tight corridor map, it can just be annoying to play around with, right? And the reason why we want movement speed is like we're going to be walking, right? You're going to be walking from mob pack to mob pack to mob pack, pulling them together. We're not a rogue. We're not zooming. We don't have any kind of leaps. We're necro, right? We're necroing around. Now, 11:41 in, we get our boss coming down the dock. Blood, wave on, blight together, pull together, get things, put the blight back on again, and we win. It's over. Ta-da. That is the build, and it will get just only stronger now with consecutive levels. Now we're going to put some more into our, not eliminator, actually it's the last one that can get +3 currently. See, we're currently sitting at 65, 61, 61, 61, 61. And if I want to keep getting these +5 3 instead of just the +1. I have to start speedrunning pit 110 and beyond. And well, we can do that, especially the stronger we get with each glyph. Now let's look at the Paragon board. We're starting with the Eliminator. Multiple reasons. It makes our Witchcraft powers better, and it gives us just more resistance and all damage. I've been trying to play the Undaunted for more damage while fortified, and that does work as a multiplier for our Blood Wave, but not as good as simply having the Eliminator right now. Maybe as I get more Paragon points, because we're only 201 points in. Next board is going to be the Blood Baguettes. We're entering from the bottom that we can take the 8% maximum life into the Blood Baguettes itself. There is another 4% more max life up here that we will want to take with more points. Then we take the more max life, blood damage, get our sacrificial glyph to boost the magic nodes, and that will get the damage while healthy up. This is 38.8%. And our Blood Wave currently has a 360% bonus multiplier. So if I now take this 40% out, we're straight up dropping quite some damage there, right? That's good. So it's really useful to multiply that upwards and get 3 of those. Which brings us to the right side into the Bloodbath board for more overpower damage multipliers. Then we get the fixed damage reduction and resistance, really amazing. More maximum life, and yes, I'm missing the 2% here. Into the Amplify glyph. More damage against cursed enemies, works great. And then magic nodes are being boosted. That would be damage while fortified, damage while fortified, damage while fortified. Same with the damage while healthy, going absolutely bonkers. And if I now get more dex, I get even more damage while fortified. This is simply overpower damage, and it gets multiplied up nicely to 112% from 35 because of our high level on the Amplify. Next up with the Flesh Eater board. Now we're not really using this bonus, but you have the Corpse Explosion. We could consume 5 corpses really quick to get the 40% bonus versus bosses. Not really doing that often, if any, but there's another 4% max life, actually 8% max life, and another 4% max life here. These 2 nodes are the reason I'm in this board, as I just want to have all the max life. And you can see we're missing another 2%. We need to make our way 30,000 max life and beyond easily. We're putting in the Dominate glyph. It's already 44 out of 25. We have more willpower that we can weasel out there to push it even further. And here's even another willpower. We just need to have more nodes to make it work. Then lastly, into the Frailty for the damage multiplier. We get more maximum life on the left side as well with some attack speed, but we want the max life mainly. And this is the perfect Essence board, as Essence can be brought up quite nicely with all the dexterity glyphs available. And the Essence just multiplies up with our sacrifice as the overpower does. We're currently sitting at comfortable 8,000 overpower damage and only 400 critical strike damage. That's why I'm also saying maybe I want to have a sword over a mace, because sure, it has an intrinsic overpower damage bonus, but my overpower damage is very high already. At some point, it would be better to have the critical strike get closer to at least 1,000 than just sitting very low down here. There's so much more damage we can really be scaling with a Blood Wave. We're barely scratching the surface. Ladies and gentlemen, could I convince you Blood Wave something for you? If you need a build to get to the Blood Wave, there's the Summoner Necro that will carry you without a doubt to tier 3 and tier 4. And I wanted to push the Summoner further, but the Blood Wave was just so effortless. Casimi's Legacy, some of the aspects, and Vam just blasting everything. Enjoy and have a fantastic good day.